RONNELL Williams, DOC number 344336, third class offender. Parole eligibility date 8/1/2021, good time date 1/9/2049, full term date 5/17/2049, 49-year sentence, 6 months. Armed robbery, aggravated criminal damage to property. Does that sound correct?
Yes, sir.
A habitual offender. All right, would you please answer Mr. Marabella's question?
Good morning, Mr. Williams. How are you?
Bless, sir. Come
Mr.
on.
Williams, my name is Tony Marabella. Your case was assigned to me, so I'll be the first one to chat with you today. Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Williams, are you 46 years old? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
Over 22 years.
Okay, nearly half your life.
Yes, sir.
Now tell me why you're in prison.
Here for bad choices I made in life.
Well, I
Armed robbery.
understand that, but tell me specifically what you did to get yourself in prison and why did you do it?
I robbed Mr. Louis Shemaine of his property, sir. And I've been sent to prison for it for the last 22 years.
Why did you do that?
Drug use, sir.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit about your drug use. How old were you when you started using drugs?
Maybe 15, 16, sir.
What did you start using?
I was drinking at first, sir. Led to one thing, continue to grow to worse things. Heroin was what I was on at the time of offense.
When did you start using heroin?
Maybe like 1995, 96. So in that area.
How often were you using it during the time you committed these crimes?
Every day.
Okay. Did you ever get any treatment on the outside?
Yes, sir. On my first probation, my first charge, sir, I was sentenced to probation. I completed it. And yes, sir.
What kind of treatment did you get back then?
I had to attend AA.
Now, were you using heroin back then as well?
No, sir. Not at that moment.
You were drinking and using what drugs?
I just was drinking, sir.
All right. And then after you got put on probation, after you went to AA and NA meetings, you got on heroin?
Yes, sir.
How does that work?
I was sent to A-Mid, Louisiana. I was resentenced from Jefferson Parish to A-Mid, Louisiana. And I completed a course that they sent me to out there.
Well, I understand that. But
yes,
it was after you got off of probation or while you were on probation going to AA meetings that you started using heroin?
Yes, sir. Well, honestly, I wasn't applying my steps that the 12-step program consists of. And it continued to grow, sir. Honestly, I didn't want to quit at the time.
Tell me what you've done while you've been in prison in terms of substance abuse treatment.
Yes, sir. For the last 22 years, sir, I applied myself for AANA. I took Living in Balance, which helps you balance your life, sir.
Okay, well, let's slow down a little bit, okay?
Yes, sir.
You say the last 22 years. Now,
yes,
you've
sir.
got a number of write-ups for intoxication.
Yes, sir.
So when did you start getting serious about drug substance abuse?
Yes, sir. When I got blocked in 2019, sir, I made a decision to want to change my life. I was tired of doing the same thing that caused me to be in prison. I knew it was going to keep me in prison. I just wanted to be a better person for myself first. So I started applying myself and started getting back in the class. I started using the steps that the 12-step program consists of. Also, I'm in a STAR program, sir, which consists of 27 risk factors to help you identify the dangers of being a substance abuser. And I've just been on the right path ever since.
Tell me about the STAR program and tell me what you're doing in the STAR program.
Well, the STAR program consists of 27 risk factors, help you to recognize dealing with high-risk situations, being in denial about it, blaming other people for your actions, life stresses, dealing with the hardships of life that builds up to make you want to go to drugs.
How long have you been in the STAR program?
Around 6 months.
Okay. What other programs have you been in besides the STAR program since 2019?
I completed a pre-release program. One of the issues in that helps me deal with the victim awareness, sir. Also, it helps me deal with how to apply for jobs, anger management. It speaks to all that, how you deal with your anger problem, because I did have an anger problem, sir.
Tell me what your sobriety plan is going to be, assuming you get favorable votes today to release you.
First thing I would like to do is join the NAA group, sir, and find me a sponsor. Like I said, I believe that's a very helpful program because it helps you express yourself, get things out in the open. Honestly, you be honest in the group. I attend AA every Saturday meetings here.
You attend AA meetings, you said every Saturday now?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been doing that?
Maybe close to over maybe a year, sir.
Okay.
Maybe.
I note that during 2021, you've done a lot of work with AA and NA. How important is that to you, and why is it important?
Well, because it's not just about getting out, sir. It's about staying out to me. And I realized that now I had time to think about that, sir. One of the steps that I do love about it is admitting that I was powerless. I understand that I was powerless over addiction. Also, I had to come to realize that something greater than me had to restore me back to sanity. And I wasn't saying I was ever selfish person, all about me. So AA is really a helpful group to me, sir.
What are some of your triggers?
Triggers? Music, bad company, different bad settings, such things like that, sir.
Tell me where you're going to be living if you get out.
At 3833 Delron Lane, Harvey.
And who is that with?
My son's mother.
Okay. She's your fiance, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. And you're going to be working at a surplus iron place with Roger Davis, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that. Tell me what kind of work that is.
Dealing with scrap iron. Also, sir, I'm a baker here. I've been baking here 9 years at this facility. This is one of my passions. I love to bake. I love to create food. I love the happiness that it brings to others. So if granted parole, sir, I would like to attend school and get my license in culinary, sir. Also, I would like to give back to the youth, the same community that I helped tear down. I would like to help build back up by maybe speaking to the judge who's presided over my section now and see if he would allow me to speak with the youth at the youth facility to explain that why my life changed and how I progressed my life, what it took for me to grow and become the man that I am today instead of this man 22 years ago, sir.
If you had to say in 50 words or less, what you've learned in the last 22 years, what do you think is the most important thing you've learned since you've been in prison?
The most important thing I learned in prison, sir, not to take life for granted no more. I was selfish. I was all about myself, very destructive. And I realized that life is more precious than anything in here. But I do thank God for this opportunity for coming to prison because I know I might have be dead right now. And I thank God for the opportunity that touched my heart to apply myself to want to be a better person in life. And one of the things I learned, sir, also in a pre-release class dealing with victim awareness is that the importance of the grief that I caused others, not only to Mr. Shemaine, sir, but to my family as well. And one of the other things that I learned is the importance of empathy. I never understood what that word meant, but all the while I did. Placing myself in another person's shoes, the harm that I caused Mr. Shemaine, sir, was very immature and destructive of me. And so I'm truly apologetic for my accident, but I applied myself, sir, to be a better person. I wanted to be a better person for myself. I didn't want to leave behind he was a no good person or rotten person. I wanted to leave something better behind for my life, for my child, whose life I've been out of all his life. So I wanted better for myself.
How old is your son?
He's 28, sir.
All right. What kind of relationship do you have with him?
We have a good relationship. So he's visited me over the course of the years. We talk often. He had his ups and downs in life, but I always talk to him about my life, and I'll be honest with him about it. I don't hide nothing from him. I'll be honest about drug use, the friends you keep around you, the negative environment you keep around you, only gonna cause you hurt and pain.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I appreciate your comments. Warden, can you tell us anything about Mr. Williams?
He's been here since 2009, and looking at his disciplinary, he did have a pretty good amount of intoxications and other rule violations, but since 2019, he's had no other write-ups. He did request to be put in the STAR program, and he has participated for the last 6 months, and Ms. Lotz, who runs our STAR program, has positive comments about his participation and his willingness to be there. So.
Great. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, that's all the questions I have.
All right, thank you. We'll hear from Mr. Greg Davis now. Can't hear you. Barely.
I can't hear him.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Well, see if you can get it fixed. We'll talk to Mr. Kent Smith right quick while you're fixing that. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Kent Smith. I was asked to speak on behalf of Mr. Williams this morning, so thank you for the opportunity. I've known RONNELL all of his life. Okay. I'm a relative of his. He's my first cousin. But I'm also an attorney and a former prosecutor. I've been practicing law now for over 25 years. And as an assistant DA, a former prosecutor, I had the opportunity I used to prosecute people who committed crimes, such as what RONNELL committed. And I must say that I am pleased to see that he's taken ownership of his past. I'm very impressed. Since he's been incarcerated, I had the opportunity to speak with him on occasion throughout the years. And I can see the growth and the maturity in his outlook, just his determination to want to be a better person and to improve himself and be a positive member of society. He realized that he went into jail, incarcerated, young, angry, confused kid. And that's what he was. And I'm pleased to see that he's grown and matured into, he's middle-aged now. He's a middle-aged man with goals and aspirations and empathy and compassion for his fellow man. And he sees where he has erred in the past with his judgments and his behavior. So that's through the eyes of a relative, but as through the eyes of a former prosecutor and assistant DA, as I said, I prosecuted and convicted people convicted of armed robberies and different felonies throughout my career. And I'm pleased to say and see that he has really rehabilitated himself while he's been incarcerated. I'm very impressed on that. Right. And open ask that you guys give careful consideration to him and give him the opportunity to further improve his life and regain his place in society.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your comment.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, do you fixed your speaker yet or not? Yeah, we can't hear you.
Oh, Mr. Chairman,
Yes. Okay.
one, in addition to what I said earlier, RONNELL's support system is already established with his family and his family members. And myself, for example, I own a different business. I own a trucking business. So RONNELL is more than welcome to work with me in that capacity as well. And he knows that. So he has ample support and employment opportunities that await him should he be granted parole. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Davis. Yeah, we're gonna have to pass on you because we can't hear you. We'll hear from Mr. Randy Meyer now.
Good morning, Randy Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. I think Mr. Williams is on the right track. He's done some good things, particularly in the last couple of years, but I have some real concern with his disciplinary reports. He's had 34 total disciplinary reports since he's been incarcerated. He's had one every year except for 3 of those years, I believe it is, and sometimes multiple reports each year. What's really concerning is in 2019, he had 2 reports for intoxication, 1 for theft. 2018 theft, 2017 he had 2 for intoxication, and 2015 he had 1 for intoxication. He's admitted that drug use was a factor in the crime that he committed, which was armed robbery, but here he is in 2019 still committing thefts and still getting intoxicated while incarcerated. There's strong victim opposition. I'd like to see a few more years of him maintaining a good disciplinary record and not having those same types of offenses while he's incarcerated, and continuing with his programming before he is released. For those reasons, we remain opposed.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Williams, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Nordyke, wrap up. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have made mistakes, sir, in the past. I admit my mistake. I take my responsibility for my actions. But I'm not that same person 22 years ago, sir. I admit my wrong. It was immature of me, but I am mature. I understand what I want out of life now. I know my worth now, sir. If granted parole, I have my plans. Like I said, I want to be a baker, sir. I love the passion of it. I have a family very supportive of me. Again, I'm truly sorry to my ex, to Mr. Louis Shemaine, and as well as his family, for disrespecting him. Who was I to have the right to point a gun in Mr. Shemaine's face and rob him of his possessions, of his hard-earned money, when I could have been doing the same thing in life? I admit that now, sir. I realize that now, sir. I took responsibility for that, sir. I have tried to better myself. I have bettered myself. Like I said, yes, I have caught write-ups over the past. I have my ups and downs, but I have learned my lesson. I've been on the right path ever since, sir. I'm seeking every day to take it day by day. I do have a lifetime commitment of drug addiction, sir. I realize that now. But as long as I apply my steps, be faithful to myself, determined, I could achieve. When I received my GED, sir, I never thought I could get it. But when I applied myself and I took the steps to study, then I knew I could do anything if I applied myself with determination, sir. I'm asking, sir, to, if granted parole, sir, please consider that. Again, I'm truly sorry to Mr. Shemaine and his family, and not only Mr. Shemaine, but my family as well for disrespecting them. I thank you for this opportunity as well, to the board. I didn't have this before. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now we'll hear from Mr. Nordyke.
Thank you. I want to first say that Ms. Chanel, his fiance, was supposed to be a speaker today, and there was a melee in the morning trying to log on to Zoom. She did not make it. But let me tell you just a little bit about her, because I've had a number of conversations with her. She's a nurse, and she has been working unbelievable hours during this COVID crisis for the last 3 years. Even with that, she has done everything she can do to help RONNELL out. RONNELL, in my conversations with him, has impressed me very much in terms of his commitment to AA and his commitment to his sobriety. It's the first thing he told me. It's the first thing he talked about. And frankly, I had difficulty moving him on to other topics because that's all he wanted to talk to me about. Judge Marabella talked to him about the programming that he has had since 2019. He had a revelation moment when he was in the cell block in 2019 that he was tired of this. He didn't want to do this anymore. He wanted to live a different life. And since that time, he has had no further write-ups. Since that time, he's taken, according to what we just talked through, 100-hour pre-release. He's been in the AA-NA program. He has had anger management. He's had living in balance. And probably most importantly, he's had the STAR program. So he has done just about all he can do at Dixon to help himself at this point. His turnaround is real. The other thing, and I've noticed this a lot in the recent months, there's been a lot of substance abuse during COVID. He did not relapse during COVID, which I think is a remarkable sign of how well he's doing in the programs. I think he's got a great support network out there. It's one of the better. This case differs substantially from the first one I heard this morning because of when the turnaround occurred and the number of programs that have happened since his cell block revelations, his cell block decision to figure it out and change his life. So I would ask for parole under what I think is an excellent reentry plan with a great support network, an incredible family out there. And I think he'll do fine.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nordyke.
I'll add one more thing, Mr. Kelsey. In a very unusual statement to me when I was working with Mr. RONNELL, he did something that a lot of these guys have never done. He said, Mr. Keith, when I get out, will you come to New Orleans and have lunch with me? I said, yeah. That's a very unusual thing.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Excuse me,
All
Mr.
right.
Kelsey.
Yes.
My name is Reverend Gregory Davis. I have gotten my connection.
Oh, okay, we've wrapped this time. I mean, I appreciate we wrapped it up, but you go ahead and make a brief statement. That'll be fine.
Yes, my name is Reverend Gregory Davis. I am RONNELL Williams' first cousin. We care for RONNELL deeply, and we've kept in touch with him over the years. And we've ministered to him from a spiritual angle and aspect. And we've really been impressed with his natural growth and maturation. I've noted, I know during the time of his earlier years, he had many different challenges that he had to overcome. And he was a confused young man, like many were at that time in his life. And through my interactions with him over these years, I've noticed great maturation in the natural sense as well as the spiritual sense. And certainly we are a Christian family. We've been praying for him, and we prayed for his rehabilitation and for a change in his life. And over the years, in talking with him, I have noted that change through letters and through phone conversations. I've noted he has changed. And I'm a firm believer in God is a God of another chance. And I just believe that RONNELL would do well with another chance to reacclimate himself into society. I think he has a support system now that will rally around him to make sure that he's getting the necessary support and guidance that he needs. And I just think the parole board would do well giving this young man another chance at life.
Right.
And once again, we are there to provide spiritual support as well as natural support to him. And once again, my name is Reverend Gregory Davis.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you for your comments. All right, is a panel prepared to vote? Mr. Marabella?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Williams,
Yes, sir.
I have listened very intently to what you had to say, as well as all of the supporters and the detractors.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell you, I'm very concerned about your disciplinary record. Those intoxication charges very much concerned me. I heard very clearly what Mr. Meyer said, and I understand his concerns. During this interview, listening to you,
Yes, sir.
having read your report and seeing what you've accomplished, you've done a lot of things since 2019.
Yes, sir.
You've done a lot of positive things. As Mr. Nordyke pointed out, the STAR program is probably one of the best things that you've done.
Yes, sir.
You've done a lot of work with AA, a lot of work with NA. You've served almost 23 years of a 46-year sentence.
Yes, sir.
So a 49-year sentence. But I was particularly impressed with your interview today and
Yes,
what
sir.
you had to say and what you believe your sobriety is about and how you're going to maintain your sobriety.
Yes, sir.
I was on the fence when this case first started.
Yes, sir.
You pushed me over the fence to your side.
Yes, sir.
My vote today is going to be to recommend your parole with
Yes,
the
sir.
following conditions that you follow, and I would like you to continue to work with the STAR program once you are released.
Yes, sir.
I'd like you to do 3 AA meetings per week. I'd like you to have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. I'd
Yes,
like
sir.
you to report to your parole officer at least weekly for the first 60 days just to get yourself acclimated to where you are.
Yes,
And I
sir.
also would like to see you do approximately 6 hours of community service work per month to
Yes,
tell
sir.
your story. I'm not going to require that you do that right away. It's going to take you a little time to get everything going. So
Yes, sir.
after the first 90 days, that's when I want your community service to kick in. So that would be my vote today. So good luck to you.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Renatza?
Mr. Williams, you've been working really hard since 2019. I too was concerned about your intoxication record, your disciplinary record, prison, and I would have liked to have seen a little more sustained period of sobriety, but you had a really good interview today. You have obvious family support. My vote likewise is to grant parole with the same special conditions that Mr. Marabella outlined for you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you have 2 votes to grant your parole today. I also am going to vote to grant your parole today for what I've heard for what you've done. 3 votes to grant. Stipulations will be you have follow up with the STAR recommendations. You have NAA 3 times a week. You have curfew from 9 p to 6 a. You report to your PO weekly for the first 60 days and 6 hours of community service. You understand stipulations?
Yes, sir.
3 votes to grant today. Your parole's been granted. Good luck to you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
Okay, so I mean, what makes this hearing interesting is the information that maybe I'll share with you. Thank you, Richard, for providing it. But it's, he has served a lot of time and he hasn't taken a life. And we have seen people that have served a fraction amount of time and get out. I didn't know if it was going to go so well for him. He had all those write-ups of intoxication and theft, and typically they're not so forgiving, even though it's been a few years, but they were in this case. I'll also tell you, so Keith Nordyke, I think, I view him, I think, as the top attorney that you can have represent you. But, I think he covers all the boxes in terms of his he's the most senior. He's respected amongst, I think, people in Louisiana. He doesn't take just any case. But I didn't really understand what he meant by his finishing statement there, which was, he asked me to go to lunch and I said yes. And we just don't see that. And I get that is something that probably never happens, but I'm not quite sure what it's insinuating. Is it insinuating that he's what's my takeaway? I think it kind of fell flat. That wasn't and then to add insult to injury, you have his spiritual advisor, supportive person who the board really could care less about, who jumps in finally after figuring out how to use Zoom, and then gives a final statement after his attorney spoke already. And really, that's, I think, the idea of someone who really just wants to hear themselves talk and doesn't realize, no, maybe you've been supporting him a long time and you wanted your spot to talk, but man, it's just now is not the time. Read the room, in my opinion. So his initial crime, which is pretty ridiculous when we go through understanding just, how, like, at certain times it's hard to understand, but in 1999 he was given a 1-year sentence, just a 1-year sentence, and he appealed the 1-year sentence, which is just so interesting to me. On the evening of November 17th, 1997, the sheriff's office was dispatched to the intersection of Field to investigate a complaint of a suspicious person armed with a gun roaming the streets. Upon arriving at the scene, the officer observed the defendant throw a large black object in the bushes. The defendant fit the description previously given. The officer stopped the defendant and questioned him concerning the object thrown. The defendant claimed he had no knowledge. The officer retrieved a sawed-off shotgun and questioned and the arrest the defendant for illegal possession of sawed-off shotgun. After the state presented its evidence, testimony of 2 witnesses, the counsel moved for a directed verdict. The trial court denied the motion and found him guilty as charged with illegal possession of an unregistered firearm. So he spent 1 year in prison for that. And immediately after getting released, about 1 year, he got locked up again. So that was, and what he got locked up for, it wasn't just a robbery. What was it? It was specifically malicious in the fact that a life insurance agent. So this is now 1999, November 17th, 1999. And if you remember, he was locked up on this on November 10th, 1998. So he pretty much, the moment he gets out of prison, he's doing this. So a life insurance agent, Union National Life Insurance Company, testified in the state that on November 17, 1999, at approximately 4 p.m., he collected money from a customer at Jefferson Place Apartments and then got back in his truck. He started the truck and attempted to shut the door, but it wouldn't shut. He looked up. The door flew open and he saw the defendant, who had a gun. The defendant demanded money, so he reached into his pockets and gave the defendant all the cash he had, which is about $300 or $400. So that's a pretty good score. 1999 especially. Defendant asked him to open his pockets and show him whatever there was any more money in them. He then told him to go get the F out of there. So he started driving. And a couple seconds later, he heard a gunshot, but continued driving. He drove about 2 miles to a customer's house and called the police, who arrived about 3 or 4 minutes later. So he got a great score and then while he's driving away, he still decided to shoot at him. Can you imagine? So that is where it's just a whole nother level of scary. And they saw that a bullet was lodged in the tailgate of the truck. He stated that the bullet was not there before he was robbed. No kidding. Immediately after the robbery, he told the police that the person who robbed him was an unknown, unshaven, cool jeans, approximately. Then showed him the photo of the lineup. And basically they caught him, took him to court, and they charged him. What did they end up getting him for on this one? Because this one, they threw the book at him, but they got him for the habitual offender. So I'm not sure if they got him. But either way, I'll put this link in the description. How do you think? Do you think that he served enough time? Well, I mean, I'm happy to tell you that we don't see any records of him. So he's been out now for a little more than a year, and we don't see him having reoffended. I am rooting for him, but man, it is scary when you see someone that would just shoot at a vehicle for no reason. But of course, I am surprised. I'm surprised actually that they let him out just because of all those write-ups. And it hasn't been that long of a period, although he did stay write-up free during COVID, which you should get credit for. But Randy was there to speak out against what was interesting. He had a supporter that was a former DA. I thought that was actually quite interesting. But you tell me how you feel. I'll put the links in the description. And with that, I will let you go.